Welcome, friends. Today we're talking about how I have been using Hobonichis for 6 years. 6 years, you may say, but there are only 5 Hobonichis in this video. Yes, I moved, and one of them has gone missing, and we're not going to cry about it today. We'll save that for a different day. I started using Hobonichis in 2021, and that was probably one of the busier years that I've had, so it worked out that I was also, I would say pretty effectively using the Hobonichi at that time. And that's why I'm focusing on that one in this video. Because at the time I was taking classes. I was taking anatomy and physiology, I think. I took an art class later that year. I was working full-time at a very busy job with lots of meetings. And I mostly used the monthly section to plan ahead and see what assignments I was going to have due and when holidays were going to fall, so I could make my work schedule around those. Now I'd say the weekly section of the Hobonichi is probably where I got my money's worth, because that's where I was able to record everything from the meetings that I got scheduled, the foods that I cooked on a given day, when I was picking up groceries, when I had personal appointments, as well as, you can see in the sidebar, books that I wanted to read that I learned about, and a little area for my dreams. I have very weird, vivid dreams, as well as the weather for the day. That's something I also really like to record, so I can look back on, this day last year. What were the high and low temperatures? Did it snow? Did it rain? The format of the weekly section is the one that I've kept up from year to year. It's when you get to the dailies that I really struggled with how best to use those full pages for each day. And you'll be able to see here, I've used it for things like things that I learned, note-taking. I would use it for work to either prepare for big meetings or to take notes after the fact. Usually I would use a scratch pad off to the side, take kind of my messy form of notes, and then, again, just for important meetings, rewrite them in the Hobonichi for that day so I could reference it against my Google Calendar, have something nicely formatted, handwritten, because that's how my brain works. Another thing I've used the daily section for is that at the beginning of each month, I would make a list of goals or to-dos or hopes, and sometimes add a habit tracker at the beginning of the month as well, which you can see here. And that's another useful lesson, something that I've come back to again and again that I found really helpful. Finding clever uses for the dailies, or practical uses for the dailies, has probably been my biggest challenge, and so I've had to find ways to reference notes that I've made. If I took notes about something I was interested in and wanted to go back and look at that, I needed to make a little marker in order to do so, and label it, ideally. I don't always take my own advice. Between those markers and the washi tape markers that divide up the months, those are my biggest takeaways for that section. So what about you? What's the best lesson you've learned from your Hobonichis?